Right now, as you read these words, something extraordinary is happening inside your skull. Light bounces off this screen, strikes your retina, and within milliseconds your brain has converted it into meaning, memory, and thought. This entire hidden process has a name: cognition. It's running constantly, silently, and it built every idea you've ever had. The word cognition traces back thousands of years to the ancient root know, meaning simply to know. It traveled through Latin as cognoscere, to learn or understand, before entering Middle English in 1447 as cognition. That ancient thirst to know became the scientific study of how minds actually work. But what exactly counts as cognition? Cognition covers every mental process that deals with knowledge, acquiring it, storing it, transforming it, retrieving it, and using it. Consider reading a single article. Your eyes gather sensory input. Your brain retrieves stored language knowledge to decode the words. Ideas connect, and finally new beliefs and memories form. Multiple cognitive processes fire simultaneously every single time. It begins with perception. Physical stimuli, light waves, sound vibrations, are captured by receptors and converted into electrical signals racing toward the brain. There, scattered regions cooperate to build a coherent picture of the world, complete with distinct objects, locations, and timing. Much of this happens automatically, unconsciously, before you're even aware anything occurred. But your brain cannot process everything at once, so attention steps in as a ruthless filter. It highlights what matters: a friend's voice in a crowded room, a car swerving toward you, while suppressing the flood of irrelevant noise. Without this selective spotlight, the sheer volume of sensory information would overwhelm conscious experience entirely. Once information is selected, memory takes over, retaining it for use later. Working memory holds details temporarily, like a phone number you repeat until dialing. Long-term memory stores knowledge for years, sometimes a lifetime, forming the foundation of who you are. Together, they let humans learn from the past to navigate the present. Beyond storing information, the mind actively manipulates it through thinking. This includes reasoning through arguments, forming concepts, solving problems, and weighing decisions. When you plan a route, debate a choice, or puzzle over a riddle, you're engaging higher-order cognition, mental activity built entirely upon the basic processes that came before it. Much of human cognition is entangled with language. Acquiring a mother tongue as a child, comprehending a stranger's speech, producing a sentence to express a need, these are all cognitive feats performed at astonishing speed. Language links thought to communication, letting one mind's internal world become visible and shareable to another. There's also a stranger, self-referential layer called metacognition, thinking about thinking itself. It's the quiet certainty that you could recall a friend's birthday if asked, even before you actually try. This awareness of your own mental processes helps you judge what you know, what you don't, and how confident to be about either. Not all cognition looks the same. Some processes are deliberate and conscious, like carefully working through a math problem step by step. Others run automatically, unconsciously, like recognizing a familiar face in a split second or processing grammar without thinking about the rules. Scientists divide cognition along these lines: conscious versus unconscious, controlled versus automatic. Here's where things get controversial. Do emotions and feelings count as cognition too? Researchers are still debating it. Some bold theories, grouped under cognitivism, argue that essentially all mental phenomena, feelings included, are forms of cognition. Others insist emotion and thought are fundamentally separate systems entirely. The line remains blurred. So how does the mind actually do all this? One influential theory, classical computationalism, claims the brain manipulates symbols using formal rules, essentially running algorithms just like a computer executes code. Under this view, thought itself is a kind of computation, information processed step by step through logical operations hidden inside your skull. A rival theory, Connectionism, paints a very different picture. Instead of rigid symbolic rules, it imagines the mind as a vast network of interconnected nodes, much like neurons themselves, passing signals back and forth. Knowledge here isn't stored as neat symbols, but emerges from patterns of connection strength across the entire network. A deeper philosophical rift splits researchers too. Representationalists argue the mind builds internal models, mental representations that stand in for the outside world. Anti-representationalists reject this, insisting cognition can happen through direct interaction with the environment, no internal picture required. It's a fundamental disagreement about what thinking even is. No single field owns cognition. Psychology studies behavior and mental states. Neuroscience maps the physical brain circuits behind them. Cognitive science bridges disciplines entirely, and philosophy questions the very nature of mind and knowledge. Each examines a different level of the same puzzle, and together they form a far richer picture than any one alone. Cognition also isn't static. Researchers studying cognitive development track how mental abilities transform from infancy through adulthood, watching an infant's simple reflexes evolve into an adult's complex reasoning and language. This developmental lens reveals cognition not as a fixed toolkit, but as a system that grows, adapts, and matures across an entire lifetime. Humans aren't the only subjects of study. Researchers investigate how animals acquire and use knowledge too, from problem-solving crows to memory-rich elephants. Meanwhile, engineers ask whether artificial systems can emulate these same cognitive processes, building machines that perceive, learn, and decide. The boundary between mind, animal, and machine keeps shifting. Though cognition has roots stretching back to antiquity, it exploded into modern prominence with the cognitive revolution starting in the 1950s. Scientists broke from earlier behaviorist limits and began treating the mind itself as a legitimate, studyable machine of information processing. That shift didn't just launch cognitive science, it reshaped how we understand ourselves entirely. Every perception, memory, decision, and word you've encountered in this video was itself an act of cognition, layers of hidden processing stacked so seamlessly you never noticed the machinery. The mind studying itself remains one of science's strangest, most unfinished stories. If this journey into your own head fascinated you, subscribe and keep questioning how you know what you know.